Hey guys, we're back with another Ask Ping. Thanks for checking in. Let's get started here. First question comes from Greg R. Says, hey Ping, love these Ask Ping segments and I absolutely love and value your perspective, insight, and just all around banter in our sport. My question is, how do you feel about having some guests on that don't have a moto background? Reason I ask is because I feel that you'd have a great conversation with an individual by the name of Evan Hafer. I'm sure you're aware of him, but in case you aren't, he's the founder and CEO of Black Rifle Coffee. They do sponsor quite a few racers in various genres of motorsports, so they're a bunch of solid dudes that are into motorsports. Being a veteran myself and also a motocross superfan, I think it would be an amazing segment to shed some light on the connection between moto and military veterans. Just thought it would be cool to bring up something a bit different, and hell, maybe somehow Whiskey Throttle and Black Rifle Coffee could do some collabs and sponsor deals. That would be so sick in my opinion. Anyway, sorry for being so long-winded. I'm just really passionate about moto and the veteran community. Thank you, Ping, for taking the time to read this. Keep up the amazing work, and I always look forward to new content from you and everyone at Whiskey Throttle. Cheers. Thanks for the letter, Greg. Appreciate it, and I'm all for it. I love having people on. You know, I always say when I started this, it wasn't really supposed to be just motocross. It was going to be action sports and music and kind of all of that. And I've tried having some people on. We've had Steve Caballero on, who is one of the most legendary skateboarders ever. He's legendary. There's him and Tony Hawk, I think, two biggest dudes ever. You probably have owned a pair of his shoes. The half cab or the cab shoe from Vans is like named after Steve Caballero. One of the best shows we've ever had. And I know nothing about skating, but it just didn't get a lot of numbers. Kalani Robb, we've had it on. Legendary surfer. Not great numbers. Charlie Beck, he was the chief of the LAPD. Super, super huge motocross fan. Amazing show. Didn't get great numbers. So there's just something about our sport and our fans where they're just, if it's not motocross, they're out. They're not interested. And speaking of coffee, one of the sponsors of the show early on was Fire Department Coffee, which was, you know, obviously important to me. It was owned by firefighters and supported a lot of charities and things in that realm that I really appreciated. And no one used the code, man. It was like one of our only sponsors that didn't see a return. And I just thought, well, it's not a motocross, you know, based company. And so I don't know, maybe it just didn't work for that reason. Having said that, if you can connect us, man, I'd love to talk with this guy. And I know he works with Travis, and we're actually have some intentions of reaching out to them with some other stuff we're working on that's going to be really cool. And it's going to have a military fire and law kind of theme to it. And we thought those guys would be a great partner. So we're kind of working that direction anyways. And they have a great story, you know, starting out as a podcast and trying different things. And when the coffee took off, it went that direction. Most people don't know they started as a podcast. So I'd love to have them on. If you've got a connection or can connect us, boy, I would totally appreciate it and be into it. So yeah, or suggestions for other folks, man, I'm all ears. If somebody has a connection, I'm definitely not a guy that's going to say, no, it has to just be moto. I like anybody with a good story. So appreciate it, Greg. Next question comes from R. Bailey. He says, Ping, just read the news about Ken Roczen being let go from Honda. Any idea what happened there? Did it have something to do with the broken part he posted on IG and then pulled down shortly after? Something to do with WSX? Thanks for the content on Whiskey Throttle Media. Loving it. R. Bailey. I'm not sure about the broken chain guide, if that had anything to do with it. I mean, that is a no-no. You don't post failures on your team that you ride for on their bikes. It's just... that's a no-no. But having said that, I had heard rumors that was a photo from earlier in the year during the Supercross season. That wasn't even recent. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I did hear that. So I don't think that was it. This is all based around the World Supercross thing. And, you know, business makes real strange bedfellows, right? I mean, I think it's super interesting that Feld for years and years ever since they've owned Supercross, they won't even mention the Nationals. They call it the Summer Series or whatever. They won't call it, you know, the National Motocross Championship. They won't even say that. But now all of a sudden their partners They're teamed up. They're doing a super motocross world championship. They found $10 million. We found $10 million. Where's that $10 million been? I mean, there's a lot of racers that could have used some of that money, you know? Anyway, strange to me. So I think what you're seeing is that there's this World Supercross program is coming in, starting slow. It's not stepping on anyone's toes this year. Next year it steps on over the Nationals, and the following year it runs the full season. It's going to overlap over Feld Series and MX Sports Series. So you can see the writing on the wall. They're going to force you to make a decision as a rider, a lot like Live Golf has done. You going to stay with the PGA, or you want to come over here and, you know, play it our way, however we're doing it. You know, they've got deep pockets. This is Middle East oil money. There's billions sitting in an account waiting to be spent on this series, and they're giving it some time to, you know, even become profitable. I don't care what you do, the World Super Duper Diggity Dog Championship, I don't care what you call it. You better lay out some cash, or you're not going to be able to compete with these guys. So, but you start to see the you know, alliances being formed to try to combat the World Supercross Series. And they've got the manufacturers on board here in the US, because American Honda, Kawasaki Motor Corp USA, Yamaha USA, all of them, you know, it doesn't benefit them to have their rider racing all around the world anywhere else. They are, although the primary companies are based in Japan or based in Austria, their budget is based on US racing, to sell bikes in the US. So from their standpoint, it doesn't make sense to send Ken Roczen or anybody over to Europe, over to anywhere, Australia, Jakarta. Doesn't help them. And they're going to spend all this money, you know, on parts on the bike. And it isn't, excuse me, it isn't just the parts. You know, Ken was like, they wouldn't even, I tried to buy the parts. Yeah, but it's, what about your mechanic? I mean, what about all the labor? What about all there is a lot of expense that an American team will incur to send somebody to go race these events. So if this World Supercross, if those guys aren't going to pay some of that back to these teams to basically buy their riders out of their contract for this length of time and send them, they're going to run into these issues where now it's like this. And the teams here, you know, the American organizations are saying, no, we don't want our guys going. We have them contracted to race here. And you're going to see, like, it's like I said, this is the first of many. Ken is just the first story. You're going to see stuff start to happen. You know, Eli is doing one round this year, not going to do nationals. You don't think he'll look at World Supercross in 24? What about Marvin Muscan? What about Malcolm Stewart? There's a lot of guys, Dean Wilson, a lot of guys on the cusp of retiring that are going to go, hey, I can go get 2 or 3 years in, try to win a World Supercross title, go see the world, go make a ton of money. Why wouldn't they? They're going to. It's going to change the complexion of our sport. As long as this World Supercross group can just deliver on a well-run event, and we'll see. They certainly have the credentials to do that, but we'll see. So anyway, I think there's a lot of people feeling threatened here and trying to combat that. You can see that with the World Super Motocross Championship, and it's just such a ridiculous name. I can't even say it without rolling my eyes. You know, and you also start to look at the way this will look long-term, right? If that series starts to build, it would be like MotoGP versus AMA Superbike. That's kind of what you're looking at, right? And we've always had the best racers from around the world come to the US Supercross Series. It's been the marquee series. And there's a potential for that to change. And that's freaking some people out. And the Feld and MX Sports have got the manufacturers on board here to say, hey, we need to all stand together, or we're going to lose these guys and lose this entity and da-da-da. And I don't know if that's accurate or not. I don't know if how much things will change here if the best riders in the world are following that series. What will it look like here? I don't know. Definitely ruffling feathers, and that's why you're starting to see this. So this is the first of many. You're going to see more drama coming. They have gotten together. There has been meetings, and they've all said, we're out. None of us are doing it. Let's all band together and say we're not supporting guys to go. So that's where we're at. The broken part, I don't know if that was, I have no idea. That was a very weird deal, and it was pulled down pretty quickly. This is not about that. This is about World Supercross. So I do know Ken will be racing the straight rhythm. I can't say on what bike, but it might be sitting right next to me. So it's going to be a different look for sure. Stay tuned. Lots of drama unfolding with this thing still to come. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you next week.